So welcome to the piano dungeon, bro, where I cook up all my tunes. I know, right? What a freaking aesthetic place to make a video, Luke. This is great YouTuber status right here. So, you're a beginner pianist, or you want to start being a beginner pianist. Well, we're in luck. We're in luck here because I am also a beginner pianist who's 2 months ahead of you right now. And I'm about to show you the 2 months worth of wisdom that I have learned from fucking around on the piano. So first of all, I would say I'm no master at technique and playing specific pieces because that's not what my focus has been. I've been focused more so on learning songwriting and theory. And what you start out learning on piano is going to depend on what you want to do with your piano skills. What a lot of people starting out to learn the piano start doing is they just learn songs, which can be great. It can be great if you just want to play a song on the piano every once in a while and show your friends. But if you really want to start learning music, start learning some songwriting, start learning some theory, because this means that you're not just going to be learning patterns with your hands, you're going to be understanding why the patterns work. You're going to be able to make your own patterns, and you're going to be able to actually speak the language of music rather than just playing one-off songs. The first huge thing I'm going to go into from my piano experience is learning how to practice effectively. So you can have really good practice and you can have really shitty practice. And it's important that you have good practice if you're going to be self-taught, because you don't have anyone there to correct you. So the fastest way for you to get down and nail what you want to nail is by doing it slowly and by doing it perfectly. So as best as you can, try not to make mistakes and just do it slowly and start bumping up the speed also pretty slowly. It's gonna feel like it takes forever, and it's gonna feel like you're not making as much progress as you could be if you just went through it fast. But what happens is when you go through it fast, you start making mistakes. And the way that you learn things with muscle memory is when you do it, you become more likely to do that thing again. So when you start practicing bad mistakes, they become bad habits, and then they're really hard to get out of. So if you practice things poorly, you start getting worse at the thing, and it's harder to get better and better and better and better and better, rather than just starting here, not getting worse. Starting here, keeping here, and then getting better and better and better and better. So accuracy is always going to come before speed. Make sure that you are accurate and not making mistakes. And when you do make a mistake, fix it as soon as you can. And if you're not sure 100% where your mistake is or how it's happening, try and really exaggerate it and make it stand out. And then you'll realize, oh, I'm doing this thing. And well, yeah, that's a little bad for muscle memory. If you do it once, then you know exactly where it is and you can stop doing it. Another thing is practice one hand at a time. You don't have to be a freaking virtuoso and practice with both hands the first time you see a piano piece. Start with one hand, nail it, do the next hand, nail it, and then put them together really slowly. Another thing is you want to practice slightly outside of your comfort zone. Don't do shit that's too easy, and don't get discouraged by doing shit that's too hard. The last thing for effective practice is practice daily. Even if it's only just a little bit, doing it every day is going to get you in the habit of getting to the piano. But also the forgetting curve of when you forget how you do muscle memory things is going to be stunted every time. So you're going to remember more by doing it even just a little bit daily than by having these long ass practice sessions once a week. Now I'm gonna get into the things that you should actually practice. And the first thing, while being a self-taught musician, that is hugely important, because you have nobody there to straighten you out and make sure you're doing things right, you have to nail posture and you have to nail hand placement, positioning. All right, so right now I'm about to show you sick piano posture. All right, so I'm at my piano. You wanna be about one karate punch away. Cha, maybe a little bit extra from the headboard right here. So maybe I'll get a little bit closer. And then from there, you want to have your back straight. I'll take my jacket off so you can actually see. You want to have your back straight as you can. Shoulders relaxed, shoulders back. And then for your hands, you want to have a straight wrist, as straight as you possibly can. And then on top of that, you want to have your fingers to be resting kind of like a little claw, like you're holding a wine bottle, or just like if you're standing up, dude, how your hand naturally just is when it's by your side, that's how you want it on your piano too. bada bing, bada boom. And that's good posture. That's good hand positioning. The challenge is reminding yourself and actually keeping that. Okay, so these are the things that I'm practicing and reviewing every day. First, I start off with warm-ups and review, and you should always do that because you want to warm up your hands, of course, just like anything else you ever have done ever. And then the second thing, you want to review what you already know so that you, one, get more warm-up in, and also so you don't forget what you already learned. So, one of the first things I do, I don't even have the piano. I rest my hands, make sure that I have good posture, make sure that my hand positioning is good, and then I'm literally in my mind calling out which finger I want to come up. Start with just one finger at a time. I've gotten good enough to do two now, but I'm thinking I want my ring finger and my index finger to come up. And then I'm putting both of them up. I want my thumb and my ring finger. Nope. Yes. See, sometimes it's hard. It's harder than you think it is, especially with these two right here. Practice those especially, but having your fingers come up gives you that mind muscle connection, also a little bit of finger dexterity there. I practice that for like a minute. Then I do some neck rolls, some shoulder rolls to make sure that I'm relaxed and ready to actually play something. After that, I do a couple things to make sure that my wrists are relaxed. So I do what's called a running jump, where looks like that. I keep going up an octave. You go up an octave each time, and you're basically just over-exaggerating the movement with your wrist, doing that, and also playing the notes. So do that with both hands. Once you've done that, you can also do a few more things to make sure that your wrists are warmed up, like playing 5 notes. I start on C. I'll show you on this one. I start on C, and with each hand, I go up the scale, and I'm moving my wrist in circles. That sounded good. I'm moving my wrist in circles each time I'm doing it, and this is really just loosening me up, making sure that my wrists are just really relaxed. Now I start getting to the fun and slightly more complex stuff. So one huge thing for me whenever I started was my hands would not work together at all. So you have to work on hand interdependence, meaning whenever you're playing one thing with your left hand, your right hand can do something different. To do this, there's a couple things you can do. I like to play those 5 notes I just did, C, D, E, F, G. I like to play them in both hands. And then it's really good to start making one hand play staccato and one legato. So basically really short notes in one hand and really long drawn out notes in the other hand. So it would sound like this together. Once you get good, you can double the speed of one of your hands and keep the other one the same. Also switch hands, switch which one is legato, which one's staccato, and make sure that you switch over which hand is doing the short ones and which one are doing the long ones. It just gets you even better. And you're not just practicing a pattern, you're actually practicing your hands kind of thinking separately. Next, and this is where songwriting starts coming in, practice chords and practice scales. So learn what a major chord is and how you can find them. So you want to be able to pick out minor and major chords on pianos just by recognizing the shape of them. And I'm about to give you all of the videos and resources that I've used to learn this so that someone who is a lot more smart than me can teach you. But basically, you want to be able to pick out a note and find a major and a minor chord. On top of that, you want to be able to pick out a note and you want to be able to play the major and minor scale on top of that, because now you have the ability to make chords on any part of the piano. You also have the ability to make a melody on any part of the piano, because now that you know what chords are there, if you know what key you're in, you can play a melody in that key along with the chords. And you know what notes are going to sound good and what notes aren't going to sound good. So after I get those practices and warm-ups out of the way, I literally just play shit I like. I play songs that I like because it keeps me motivated. It makes me actually want to sit down at the piano because I know I'm going to be doing fun stuff that I enjoy. By playing stuff I like, I listen to the songs I like and I take them apart by ear. I really listen to them and I think, what is going on here that's making it sound like that? What is the piano doing? What chords are being played? I listen to the chords and I figure them out on piano. I figure out the melodies on piano and I learn my favorite songs, and that helps with ear training. And that's just a fun ass way to do ear training, dude. Like, who doesn't like just listening to music they love and then trying to play it? That's what like drew me to music in the first place, is just trying to play the shit I love. The very last thing I do is I learn something new. So at the end of my sessions, I usually practice for about an hour and a half. At the last half hour, my focus is on learning something that I didn't know. So I'm on musictheory.com. I am watching Michael News videos. I'm looking at stuff I didn't know, and I'm learning. The best things that I've found that I started out on were, one, The Basics of Playing Piano by Pianist magazine. It's got a very dreary man teaching you how to play piano, but he does a good job of telling you what you should learn self-teaching wise very first. After that, for learning more practical use of theory on piano, watch Michael News videos. Like, just look up Michael New on YouTube. And I'm not affiliated with any of these guys. This is literally just what I use, is who I like. But Michael New does a really good job of explaining theory really simply and in a way that you can understand. On top of that, he applies it directly to piano so you can start playing chords and melodies literally like as soon as you sit down. After watching Michael New's theory videos, I straight up just go to musictheory.com because it's a great resource for just learning about theory. And I try and apply every lesson I can onto the piano and actually play some of the things they have on there and figure out, why does this work the way it does? Because that's what's going to help me write really good music in the future, is learning the language of music. So that's what I started to do to learn music theory on piano. And I lied, it's actually a month and a half of progress. I'm not even 2 months in yet. So sorry for the Fibberooski. But after a month and a half, I feel like I've made a lot of progress. I now know how to play scales on piano. I know how to play chords. I've learned music theory in a whole new freaking way, dude. I just understand it way better now because I can visualize it on the white and blacks of the keys, which is just life-changing. So if you're trying to learn music theory, if you're trying to write songs, learn piano, even just a little bit, and learn how theory works on it, because it's going to make visualizing and it's going to make understanding how music works so much easier, dude. So much easier. So use those tips, practice effectively rather than giving yourself bad habits over time. Just because you're self-taught does not mean that you have to be ass at piano. So use those tips for effective practice to make sure that every time you sit down at the piano you have a goal, something is being worked out, and you're actually practicing in a way that does not develop bad habits, because that can be super easy to do whenever you're self-taught. Good luck on your music journey, my friend, and act now and become unstoppable.